Welcome to tutorial 3.6 part 1 on stoichiometry is typically what it's referred to. It's looking for quantitative information from balanced equations. So we start with a balanced chemical equation and we use it to answer other questions about reactants and products. So let me give you an example. Here is a balanced chemical equation of the making of water. So you notice here, I've drawn it out and written the equation. For every 2 hydrogens, a single oxygen molecule is needed to make 2 water molecules. That's what information we have when we look at the balanced chemical equation. And the question then arises is okay, what do we then do with that information, say in a lab setting or in a more practical setting? So for example, if someone said, well, I didn't have 2 hydrogen molecules, I had, say, a different number, 6, then how much oxygen would be needed and how many waters would be made? You could think that, well, I'll just rewrite the balanced chemical equation. Instead of having it in smallest whole number terms, I'll just write for every 6 hydrogens, 3 oxygens are needed to make 6 waters. And, you know, conceptually that's correct, but we don't want to write a new balanced chemical equation every time we change the amount of material that we have. So what do we do instead? We basically just kind of keep track of how much stuff we have started with and how much stuff we make just by doing some kind of simple ratios. So let's look at an example of this and see if it makes sense. So what I like to do for these is to actually keep track of the information in a table. You'll see this in some text, in other texts you won't. I think it's just the easiest way of keeping track of what's going on. So look at this example here. This is the balanced chemical equation at the top. We say, okay, 2 hydrogens are required for every oxygen to make a water molecule. But what if we happen to have 4? And 4 could actually mean for us 4 moles, or 4 just referring to some number of hydrogens. In that same unit, let's assume it's moles right now, how many oxygens would be required? And you can tell by looking at the ratio, it takes half as many oxygens compared to hydrogens. Or you can just think back to the picture. The oxygen gets split up and there's 1 sitting in the middle for every 2 hydrogens that are on either side. So following the ratio, it's pretty straightforward. We say the 2-to-1 ratio means for every 2 hydrogens I need 1 oxygen, or half as many. So if I have started with 4, I'll need half as many, which is 2. How do we find out how many waters are made? Well, that one is really straightforward. You say, look, whatever number of hydrogens you have, you're going to actually make that many water. That is, however many hydrogens that you use, you'll actually make that many water molecules, because each hydrogen just gets pulled apart, oxygen sits in the middle, and it's the same number. Or we can say the ratio is 2-to-2, which is the same as 1-to-1, and therefore however many hydrogens reacted, that many waters will be made. Alright, so let's try a couple of these with water. Very straightforward. We can go through them pretty quickly. How about this? Someone has 14 moles or 14 molecules of hydrogen. How many oxygens do we need? Well, half that many. So we need 7. How many waters will be made? The same number as 14. So we're going to make 14 of those. Alright, let's do another one. What if it was the other way around? Someone says, well, I know how much oxygen I used up. I wonder how many hydrogens must have reacted in the production of water. And this time we say, oh, okay, well, twice as many hydrogens were involved compared to oxygen, so I'll just double the 4.2. It's got to be 8.4. And then back to this, once I know there's 2 hydrogens that reacted, it's the same. For every 2 hydrogens, there's 2 waters that were made. So however many hydrogens reacted, 8.4, there'll be the same number of waters that were made. Alright, that's hopefully pretty straightforward. Let's try a different chemical reaction that's not a simple 2-to-1-to-2 ratio, but a 3-to-1-to-2. The making of ammonia in this case. So what's the ratio between hydrogen and nitrogen? You need 3 times as many hydrogens according to the balanced equation than nitrogens. So this number has to be 3 times as big as this to react at all. So you say, well, what's the relationship between 6 and nitrogen? Well, it's got to be 1/3 as many. So I divide 6 by 3 and I have 2. Once I know that there's 2 nitrogens that are going to react, I notice the ratio between nitrogen and ammonia is 2-to-1. So I have to double the number of nitrogens to get the ammonia. So I double 2 to get 4. I also could have noticed that you get 2/3 as many ammonias as hydrogens. So you could have multiplied the 6 by 2/3. Be another way to do the same thing. All right, let's try another one with ammonia. How about if the numbers were not quite as easy to see? Nitrogen, how many do I need to react with 2.4? Again, it's a 3-to-1 ratio. So I divide that by 3. It looks like it's 0.8. And then I'll double that to get the amount of ammonia. 0.8, 2.4 divided by 3 is 0.8, and then double that, which is 1.6. for the amount of ammonia that's going to be made. One more. What's different about this? Oh, the other way around. What if you had 2.4 of nitrogen? And I said, okay, how much hydrogen would be required to react to 2.4? This time you go in the other direction, 3 times as many hydrogens as nitrogen. So I multiply 2.4 times 3, and I get, what is that, 7.2 it looks like. And then to go from nitrogen to ammonia, it's the same as we did before. You just double the number. For every 1 nitrogen, you make 2 ammonias that react at 2.4 times 2 is 4.8. Okay, one last one where numbers are not quite as easy to see. What would you do if it was 0.130 hydrogens? How much nitrogen? Divide the 0.130 by 3, and then when you're done with that, multiply by 2. So this time, because the numbers are starting to get a little bit where it's not as easy to do it in your head, it might be nice for you to actually write them out. So how would you write this relationship out? You'd start with the 0.13 that you have. I should have added a 0 here for significant figures. And then just write down what's the ratio of nitrogen to hydrogen. It's 1 for every 3. So you multiply the 0.13 by 1/3. Of course, that's the same as just dividing by 3 to get that 0.0433. Starting with the same hydrogen, how do you get over to the ammonia? You notice the ratio is 2 to 3. So you say I start with 0.13. I wonder how much ammonia I can make. I'm going to make 2 ammonia molecules for every 3 hydrogens that react. Multiplying 0.13 by 2 over 3 gives me the 0.0867. So this has the advantage of not in any way needing to do any kind of mental math, and it's just the same as the dimensional analysis that we've seen all along. The units of hydrogen cancel, just like this is just numbers of particles. They cancel like any other unit, and we end up with the right unit if we set it up right. So we can tell if we set it up right just by the cancellation of units. So it's a nice way to go if you're at all insecure about doing these. All right, so let's look at the last couple of slides. All involve this reaction, and I choose it because the ratios are harder to see in your head. It's a 2 to 13 to 8 to 10 ratio, and the question here is starting off with one of these substances, and we're going to go through each of these to see how the ratios would look different, how they would look depending on where you start. How much of the other material do you need? So let's look at this first one. If I have 4 butane molecules, how much oxygen do I need? How much carbon dioxide will they make? And how much water will they make? Well, you might be able to do this kind of straight away in your head. I'm not sure. It depends on how you feel comfortable about this stuff. But let's look to see how you got the 26. Well, 26 is 13 halves of 4. You need 13 for every 2. So that would give you the 26. How would you get the 16? It's 4 times as big. You can see that the ratio of 8 to 2 is 4 to 1. So you multiply 4 by 4 to get the 16. And 10 to 2 is the same as 5 times as many waters compared to the butane. So you multiply by that 4 by 5 to get 20. However, this might be a little bit fast for some of you. So we're going to go through each one of them step by step. Get the oxygen, get the CO2, and get the water, and show it with dimensional analysis just to make sure we're nice and comfortable. All right, the first one, how did I get to 26? I start with the butane. I've got 4 butanes. What is the ratio according to the balanced chemical equation? 13 oxygens are needed for every 2 butanes. So I write that out. I need 13 oxygens for every 2. And just do the math. 4 divided by 2 is 2 times 13 is 26 oxygens will be needed. All right, let's look at the carbon dioxide. What's the ratio this time? 8 carbon dioxides are made for every 2 butanes. So the ratio is 8 for every 2. That's what I get from the balanced chemical equation. I start with the number that's given. I've got 4 moles of butane in this case. Multiplied by 4 is 16 carbon dioxides. Finally, the water. What's the ratio between the water and the butane? It's a 10 to 2 ratio, or 5 to 1. So I have to multiply 4 by 5, where you can see it here in the dimensional analysis setup. For every 10 waters, 2 butanes are needed, so the answer is 20. All right, I hope this is kind of seeming pretty good. The next ones, let's just go through them about the same speed, I guess. We have enough time. It's 9 minutes in. Same exact deal. We're just going to go through the same equation, but this time start with different materials. So this time I'm going to start with the oxygen. If you can do it all in one step, fine. Let's do it all in one step. How did you get from the 39 to the 6? You multiplied 39 by 2/13. How did you get from the 39 to the 24? Multiply 39 by 8 over 13. How did you get from 39 to water? Multiply by 10 over 13. Or once you got over here to the 6, you could just say, well, I'll just take the 6 and multiply by 4 to get to the 24, or by 5 to get to the 30. That's, of course, a clever and fast way to do it. Let's go through it nice and systematically, step by step. Let's first get the amount of butane. We start with 39 oxygens. What's the ratio? 2 for every 13. Make sure the oxygens cancel. 2 butanes for every 13 oxygens. I simply take 39 divided by 3, which is 39 divided by 13, which is 3 times 2 is 6. 6 butanes will be needed. The next one, starting again with the 39 oxygens that are available, how much carbon dioxide will be made? Well, the ratio is 8 for every 13. So I, again, take the 39 divided by 13 to get 3. 3 times 8 is 24. Finally, for the water, same deal. Start with the 39 oxygens. What's the ratio? 10 waters for every 13 oxygens. 39 divided by 13 again is 3 times 10 is 30. So that's nice and slow for each one of them. I think I do one more like this with just make sure the numbers, if they're a little bit more difficult like you might see on the website, you're not confused. Same kind of thing. I've got this much carbon dioxide made in this reaction. How much of this other material must I have started with, and how much water also will be made at the same time. Same thing. If you can do it all in one step, that's great. The 8:2 ratio is 1:4. Divide by 4 to get over here. And once you have this number, multiply 0.122 by 6.5 to get to 0.793, because 6.5 is 13 over 2. And multiply 0.122 by 5 to get the water amount. Again, if that was too fast, step by step, let's go through each ratio. How do we get over to the C4H10? Write down what you have, 0.488 CO2s, and then multiply by the ratio of 2 to 8. 2 butanes will be made for every, or were needed for every 8 CO2s that were produced. So I just divide this by 4. I get 0.122. Next step, how do I get to the oxygens? I'm sorry, to the waters. Start with 0.488. What's the ratio this time? 10 waters will be made for every 8 carbon dioxides that were made. So the ratio of water to carbon dioxide is 10 to 8. So take 0.488, multiply by 10, divide by 8, and it comes out to 0.610. Or you could do 5/4 of that. The last one, how do I get to the oxygen? 0.488. The ratio here is 13 to 8. 13 oxygens must have reacted for every 8 CO2s that formed. So dividing 0.488 by 8 and multiplying by 13 gives us 0.793. So watch rounding a little bit. You might get slightly different numbers. I think that's it on the last slide. So good luck with this. It's just ratio work. Take the time to write it out as I've done if you really feel like that's helpful. If it's not, most people can kind of, especially with the easier reactions, can kind of just see the ratios right away and don't bother writing out a bunch of stuff. But if you get confused, that's how you do it. All right, good luck with this, and we'll practice again together in class. Good. See you then.